This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. We are here in London and I'm joined by Jeff Powell of the Daily Mail. Jeff, we've got to get straight into it. Obviously earlier today we saw the news that Conor Benn had tested positive for a VADA test. I just want to get your immediate reaction to that.
Anything and any time when drugs come into cast a shadow over boxing, rightly or wrongly, it's a damaging day for boxing, and in this case particularly for British boxing. Whatever the truth and the reality of the situation, and Conor has come here to training today to protest his innocence. We don't know the full basis of it just yet, but something that causes the British Board of Boxing Control, Board of Control to withdraw their sanction for the fight suggests they think it's serious. It's a doubly damaging day because it's also seen the final confirmation that another great fight that the British public have been waiting forever to see, Fury against Joshua, has been cancelled for a myriad of reasons, but none of them which look satisfactory to me. So the public is at a loss. The image of the game, the hardest game in the world, has taken two blows here. Whether the exact position of Benn with regard to his failed test, whether it was seriously important or not, I don't know. And we won't know for a few days, I suspect. They talk about trace elements, but if it is trace elements of a drug which, when given to a man, enhances body muscle building by testosterones and stamina and rapid recovery from training, is a problem for the sport. I hope he's innocent, as he says. Whether this fight can be resurrected quickly, perhaps even by Saturday night, it will be interesting to see. It doesn't give Eddie Hearn long to acquire what he hopes with the Board of Control, that some comfort about the situation, that they feel there won't be any extra danger to Eubank from this in the fight. Chris himself has accepted the situation. I've been advised apparently by his medical men and his lawyers that there's nothing additional to worry about. There is concern that with the rehydration clause following the weigh-in, that he wouldn't be able to get back to his normal fighting weight. Perhaps the deepest anxiety is that if he comes in dehydrated and drained and is then hit by a man who has built himself up artificially in weight and power, there could be serious repercussions for everybody. Everyone has to be careful. Eddie Hearn says he doesn't want to go rogue, and I'm really pleased by that. If they can get it on and everybody's happy, fine, but caution must be the watchword.
Jeff, it's obviously an ever-changing scenario around this. We're hearing various rumours that it might still be on. What would it say about the sport and how it kind of tries to look after the safety of the fighters if a fight does go ahead? When you look at Eubank Sr.'s comments when he was saying he was concerned for his son in the build-up to this because of the weight, and obviously, you know, the Eubank Sr. fights and the Nigel Benn fights with Michael Watson and Gerald McClellan, you know, concern there as well. What would you say about the sport if this fight does go ahead?
It doesn't say all bad about the sport. Any association of drugs with boxing is very damaging. However, it does appear that the board are taking the steps that they consider necessary to protect the fighter. If they can be reassured after the stance they've taken, then I think we can feel fairly comfortable that they're okay with the situation, and there's no further cause for concern. If they continue to refuse to sanction the fight, then this will be controversy. There will be a lot of investigation and inquiry, and we won't know the outcome of that for some time, I suspect. Certainly not before Conor's B sample is analysed and declared clear or otherwise. The longer it goes on, the worse it is for boxing.
That was going to be my next question, Jeff. You mentioned the B sample. Now, he obviously had his positive A sample. I mean, he's gone away and done a test under UKAD regulations, and that came back all clean. But what's your understanding of the situation there? For him to go away and do a test with UKAD when we're obviously under VADA regulations, he'd failed a test there.
There's a couple of elements to this. It depends when in the cycle of training the VADA test was taken. It would appear to be that it was taken before the UKAD test, which have subsequently cleared him. if that's the case, the board will be asking, was he caught by this random surprise test just at the end of a period where he was abusing a steroid, and he hadn't quite cleared it, which he had then subsequently done at the time, by the time he expected to be tested. That would be very unfortunate for all of us, and for Conor in particular, and it's unproven, I hasten to add. That may not be the case, but that may be the suspicion. The other factor is that the VADA test is more rigorous than the UKAD test.
Earlier in the year, Jeff, Conor was removed from the WBC rankings for failing to enrol in VADA. What do you think people will make of that? And would you think they'll try and make a link between now and going back to there?
Well, I'm sure they will, and it's going to affect public perception of this fight. It's going to affect public perception of the sport, and it's going to reduce the eagerness of the viewing public to buy this on pay-per-view. The ramifications are moral and financial.
Looking at Conor during his workout, obviously it seemed to be that it was kind of weighing on his mind. He wasn't very kind of upbeat, shall we say, and understandable with everything that's going on. How much do you think this is going to affect him moving forward? Do you think this will tarnish his name in the future?
Well, it won't help him, and he'll have to put a lot of effort and presumably some legal investment into clearing his name, which he did once before with this situation, as you say, earlier in the year. If he's as clean as he says he is, and I hope he is, then that's unfortunate for him, because mud sticks.
Right, Jeff, we do have to move on now because I know Junior's about to turn up, but I appreciate your time. Thank you.
My pleasure, always.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Perfect, Jeff. Thank you.